Over the past decades, the sanctions policy has become an important tool for the United States in relation to authoritarian countries. For example, since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Russian troops into Ukraine, the United States has imposed more than 2,500 restrictions against Russia. In the weeks leading up to the invasion, Western leaders warned the Kremlin of the economic consequences. However, this did not stop Putin. Today, such warnings are directed at China. The reasons are suspicions of military assistance to Russia and the policy towards Taiwan.
China has assured us repeatedly, and not just us, many other countries, that it is not providing material lethal assistance to Russia for use in Ukraine, and we take those assurances very seriously. We do have concerns about individual entities providing technology, dual-use technology, that can be used, among other things, for drones and other kinds of weapons to be used in Ukraine. It's a concern that we've shared with Beijing and look to them to do whatever they can to make sure that that doesn't happen.
I do not think that China will be so stupid to implement its foreign and security policy as the aggressor country Russia, because we see the consequences of these ill-considered brutal actions that really led to a full-scale war going on in the heart of Europe. China, in my opinion, is more careful. It often takes a wait-and-see attitude.
Despite the fact that the Chinese economy is the second in the world after the United States in terms of nominal GDP, the United States will be ready to stop cooperation with the largest companies from China in the event of a more aggressive policy of Beijing, experts assure.
You need to understand that if China's actions are more aggressive towards Taiwan or in the context of militarization, although this is already being traced, I think that the United States can react in the context of precisely sanctions actions in specific Chinese companies, the restrictions on their actives, trade, relationships, the financial sector, and much more in terms of technological processes, and the domestic US market for Chinese goods.
For military assistance to Russia, the US also promises to strengthen sanctions against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Totalitarian North Korea, which has long fallen under American restrictions, has recently received a visit from Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. Such meetings are not welcomed in Washington.
With regard to reports of the Russian Defense Minister in North Korea, I strongly doubt he's there on holiday. So what are we seeing? We're seeing Russia desperately looking for support, for weapons, wherever it can find them to continue to prosecute its aggression against Ukraine. And we see that in North Korea. We see that as well with Iran, which has provided many drones to Russia that it's using to destroy civilian infrastructure and kill civilians in Ukraine.
North Korea, in partnership with, let's say, Iran and Russia, is among the top 3 countries with the most sanctions against them. But at the same time, I am absolutely sure that there are also Western technologies in North Korea that get there. It is even possible that from Russia, and they use them for military purposes. And all these nuclear programs, the development of weapons, which the Korean leadership demonstrates bluntly and revealingly, they all indicate that they can also bypass sanctions, even against such exile countries.
According to experts, the US sanctions policy is important not only for punishing authoritarian regimes. The European Union, Canada, Australia and Great Britain often focus on the introduction of restrictions specifically on the United States. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.